I'm Amy Kelly for Tooele TV, and we are on location in a town that I personally think is one of the best kept secrets in Tooele County. It's Ophir, and joining me would be the mayor, Walt Shubert. He's been the mayor for how many years?
Some 26 odd years, yep.
I can't believe it.
Well, if you got a pulse in Ophir, you can be the mayor.
A pulse in Ophir. So what are you saying?
Yeah, if you've got any sign of life, you're usually elected to some position.
Well, how many people reside here annually?
Actually, annually it's hard to guess. There's probably a couple hundred, but the actual full-time residency of Ophir is 12 people.
12 people.
Which makes it very difficult, to operate as a town.
Oh my goodness, I can imagine. So tell me, when you got put into this position, how many people were in the town at that point?
We had about 26 people at that time. The mining was just shutting down, and with the modern day and age, it was easier to drive to Tooele where they had running water and things like that, where in the old days they had to put up with carrying water, coal, wood, things like that. So when the mining shut down in about 1976, everybody pretty well left the community because it was a hard life,
right.
And there were a lot more things to access in Tooele, or other outlying areas. So Ophir kind of died off in a way, but one day I was here in Ophir, I was sitting on the side of my house I was building down there, and I seen them, they started to remove an old house that was there, and I got thinking, maybe Dr. Burge was right, preserve some history. So I asked the owner if I could buy that house, and he says, no, but you can have it.
Oh my gosh.
If you can get out of here in 2 weeks. So I done that with about 6 different places and was able to move them with Getty and Barrick's assistance up to a site. And later on, when we got set up enough and got some property, I moved them down there, which you call the Ophir Historic Site now. And they're actual homes that were in Ophir and used by people. And I actually was able to get them on site, get them set up. And that's about as far as I could go. There was quite a challenge to furnish them, and as we were erecting or putting them back, there was a lot of people come by and says, I was married in that cabin, or I lived there, or we played in there as school kids and things like that. So my only recourses was to get them people organized and say, hey, we're going to give these to the town of Ophir, but I'd like you to sponsor a house. The stuff you put in it will be yours, but the house will belong to the town of Ophir. And I'll tell you, them people come out of the woodwork with stuff that you would not. They went to the grave with it. They got it out of their attics and basements. So if you go through them homes, you'll see things that even I was not familiar with. And I go back a long ways. Years ago, I'm sure, when Johnson's army came to Fairfield, and they were assigned there to protect the people from the Indians or vice versa. When he finally sent his soldiers out in these areas to find minerals and that, when they discovered Mercer, which had some silver, and then Ophir that had gold, I'll bet they never imagined it'd turn out like it was.
Right.
Later on, the mining really developed. Ophir was a real hot spot in them days. And the ore that they took out of here was taken out by several well-known financiers like Daniel C. Jackling, I'm trying to think, George Dern, who later became the governor of Utah and the Secretary of War for President Roosevelt. So a lot of well-known names from back east financed these exposures here. Then they finally, due to the smelting capabilities in the United States, which all the custom smelters closed down, and the price of metals, it finally died off. So it's kind of died off from there, and everybody went away. And when I kind of came aboard, I was able to know some contractors, and with the help of the mine next door, was able to clean up the town. And when I say clean up, there were just some old houses that are falling down and some rat nests and a few things like that. So we cleaned it up free of charge to the owners. Most of the people appreciated it. There's some that didn't because, nobody likes changes.
That's true.
And that's been my biggest challenge in Ophir is try to keep up as much as we can with the laws and regulations, planning and zoning, and all that, which, people don't accept them very good.
Right.
Building inspectors and things like that. And we don't have the income to finance a lot of that anyway. You can see how things develop with 8 or 12 full-time residents in there, and there are no kids to speak of. The school bus doesn't run up here anymore or anything else. How it comes together for an Ophir Day like we got now. You can see we have hundreds of people. Years ago, the mines and the railroad and everything would shut down on the 1st of August. That was railroad days or Ophir days, and this was a field. They would have ball games here, and the old miners would race to the top of States Peak and get the jug of whiskey and then grease pigs. It was things like that, but they'd shut the whole town down. Well, I resurrected this. It went on for a while, and then it died off, and on and on. Then I resurrected it about 18 years ago, and it started out as a sociable. I had never dreamed or wanted it to get to where it's a lot of work.
I'm sure it is.
But there's so many people that appreciate it, and enjoy it. It's well worth the effort. So you'll see today a conglomerate of residents, kids of residents, grandchildren, people that own property just come together to put this on. There's
So like a big family reunion, really.
Big family reunion. When I first started, you'd just sit back, we'd have ice cream, a little cake, sit in the shade, and you'd listen to the old-time miners tell their stories, how they carried their lantern up over the hill to the hidden treasure, and how they worked, 14, 16 hours a day to get back and forth, and lived in a cabin out back while the ladies up front cooked. Anyway, it was just so good, but them people have died off, and slowly. So we're like anything else. We're kind of getting into, hopefully not a commercial bit.
Right.
We still gather over there, and they get together and still have a little bit of old small talk.
Now, as far as this park goes, I understand that you allow it to be rented out for family reunions. Is that true?
That's really our only income. You can rent it. You get the whole park. We don't like to mix apples and oranges, because if you want the park and want to enjoy it in your status of life, that's the way we rent it. We have a lot of interest in it.
I said it was a best-kept secret. You heard me.
Yeah, well, I talk to people even now, said they didn't know we were up here.
Well, I tell you, it is. I'm smitten. The energy, the gorgeous surroundings. I mean, I can see why Ophir has a very rich history.
Well, thank you. You need to spend an evening here and look at the sky, and the stars, and you can almost hear the miners still coming down the old trails with their lunch buckets and see their lanterns. It's kind of just, we got a lot of cabins down in town. I don't know whether you've seen it or not. The jail's still there, and we preserved as much history as we can.
If you want to know more about Ophir, I encourage you to come out and take a tour. It's very interesting, and I actually really found that old piano in that other building quite
May I
neat.
say one other thing? I invite anybody and everybody to come and see us, but don't plan on staying. And when I say
I'm
that
getting that
is we
impression.
don't have any motels, hotels, or restaurants. Nobody cooks in Ophir, and there's no sleeping rooms, but you're welcome to come up and see us and enjoy it.
Enjoy a nice day and bring a picnic. I think that's a great idea.
Oh, you bet.
All right. Well, I want to thank you. And again, thanks for joining us, Mayor. And thanks for watching Tooele TV. I'm Amy Kelly.